Have you ever looked back and thought, if only I knew then what I know now? Well, I'm 80 years old today, and if I could sit across the table from my 50-year-old self, cup of coffee in hand, maybe a little more patient and a whole lot wiser, I'd have a few things to say. Things I learned not from books, but from living, from loving, losing, slowing down, and still standing tall. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you let yourself be truly still? No phone, no noise, just silence, boredom even. Most people run from it, but I've learned that being at peace with quiet moments is not a weakness. It's a superpower, especially in today's world. In this video, I won't be lecturing you. I'm just sharing what I wish someone had told me back when I was strong, busy, and thought I had all the time in the world. Stick around. Some of what I'll say may surprise you, and who knows, it might just help you live the next 30 years with more clarity, joy, and purpose than ever before. Life management tips. As someone who has lived through 8 decades, I often find myself reflecting on the things I wish I had known earlier. Not because I regret my choices, but because with time comes clarity, the kind that only life can teach. If you're in your 50s, standing at the threshold of what many call the second half of life, then I offer these thoughts not as rules, but as gentle lanterns to light your way forward. First, learn to protect your energy like it's your most precious currency, because it is. There are people, habits, and even thoughts that slowly siphon the life out of us, and many of them disguise themselves as normal. Over the years, I've learned that anyone who leaves you drained, anxious, or doubting your worth doesn't deserve permanent space in your life. That includes those you feel obligated to tolerate. Peace is not a luxury in your later years, it's a necessity. The moment I stopped explaining myself to those committed to misunderstanding me, my days became softer, lighter, and fuller. Closely tied to that is the realization that worrying, that endless spinning of the mind, changes absolutely nothing. I've wasted countless nights staring at the ceiling, heart pounding, fretting over things that either never happened or turned out just fine. Worry is a thief in disguise. It steals the joy of the present in exchange for illusions of control. It may feel like preparation, but really it's just fear rehearsing. Let it go. If something is in your hands, act. If it's not, release it. That's wisdom earned with time. One of the greatest secrets I discovered too late is the transformative power of sleep. I used to wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. Now I know better. A well-rested mind is more creative, kinder, and resilient. Sleep is the most underrated medicine we have. Better than most prescriptions I've tried, and free. Treat it as your daily reboot. Everything feels different after a good night's rest, even the things you thought were unbearable yesterday. As you walk through these years, shift your attention from goals to systems. It's good to dream, yes, but it's even better to build rhythms that carry you there. A goal is the mountain, but the daily steps are your trail. Focus on those steps. Do the next right thing. Whether it's your health, your relationships, or your finances, it's the small, consistent actions that create lasting change. I've seen people fail at big dreams because they ignored small disciplines. And when it comes to health, forget the trends and remember the fundamentals: movement, nourishment, and presence. I can't overstate how healing a 30-minute walk can be, not just for your heart, but for your mind. Nature has a way of reminding you that life doesn't need to be rushed to be meaningful. Pair that with better food, not perfect, just better, and you'll begin to notice your body thanking you. Your gut affects your mood. Your muscles affect your confidence. Invest in yourself in this way, and you'll be harder for doctors and pharmaceutical companies to make money off of. That's a win. Another lesson that took me far too long to embrace is that self-worth is never found in the opinions of others. The less I've cared about external approval, the freer I've become. When you live your life constantly trying to meet others' expectations, you'll always feel behind. But the moment you begin asking yourself, what feels true for me? That's when your life starts to feel like your own. Live according to your own values, not someone else's checklist of what success should look like at 30, 50, or 70. And speaking of freedom, It's financial too. I don't say this as a guru, just someone who learned the hard way. Saving 10% of everything you earn, even when things are tight, isn't about wealth. It's about dignity. I've seen people lose peace because of debt, and others build quiet confidence because they knew they had a cushion. Pay off your credit card each month. It's simple advice, often ignored, but it saves you from so much silent stress down the line. Forgiveness is something else that grows more important with age, especially forgiving your parents. You see, when we're young, we measure them by how they failed us. When we're older, we begin to see how they were just trying their best, often with broken tools they didn't know how to fix. Carrying old resentment only weighs you down. Let it go, not because they were right, but because you deserve peace more than you need an apology. And finally, perhaps the most underrated truth of them all, your body and brain are not fixed assets. They're dynamic, upgradable systems. Cardio and strength keep your body resilient. Learning, reading, and surrounding yourself with curious minds keeps your brain sharp. It's never too late. I started learning how to play the guitar in my 70s. Terrible at it. Still am. But it keeps me laughing, engaged, alive. So if I could sit across from you right now, I wouldn't give you a roadmap. Just a warm cup of tea, a steady look in the eyes, and these gentle reminders. Protect your peace. Rest well. Move often. Forgive freely. Learn always. And above all, live a life that feels true to you. Because no one else can do it for you. And time, as you'll learn, is the one thing you never get back. Relationships and self-worth. As we get older, we begin to realize that the most important relationship we'll ever have is the one we hold with ourselves. We spend so much of our earlier years adjusting to others, seeking approval, trying to fit in, or sacrificing pieces of ourselves to be accepted. But there comes a moment, somewhere in the quiet of aging, when we understand that self-worth isn't something others give us. It's something we either claim or surrender. And when you begin to claim it, everything changes. Over time, you notice that not every friendship is meant to last forever. Some people were only meant to walk beside you for a chapter, not a lifetime. That doesn't make their presence meaningless. It simply means their role in your story had a natural end. It's okay to outgrow connections, even ones that once felt vital. Holding on to relationships that no longer nurture your soul will only anchor you to who you used to be, not who you're becoming. Letting go doesn't always mean anger or conflict. Sometimes it's just a quiet goodbye whispered for your own peace. You also come to understand that not everyone will treat you with kindness, and some will disrespect you for no reason at all. They may try to belittle your efforts, overlook your boundaries, or make you feel invisible. But the truth is, no one can make you feel inferior unless you grant them the power to do so. I've learned that disrespect is a mirror reflecting more about them than it ever will about you. People project their pain. They lash out when they don't know how to love themselves. And when they can't handle their own chaos, they try to spread it. You don't have to receive that. Walk away when needed. Protect your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. When you experience disrespect, you have three choices. You can let it destroy your confidence, you can retaliate and join the same game, or you can rise above it, learning to forgive for the sake of your own freedom. Being strong enough to walk away, wise enough to let go, and brave enough to stand tall despite it all, that's not weakness. That's the quiet power of maturity. You stop reacting to everything, not because you don't care, but because not everything deserves your energy. You start to realize silence can be louder than argument, and peace is more valuable than being right. Another realization that settles in with age is how crucial it is to speak kindly to yourself. So many of us grow up internalizing voices that told us we weren't enough, smart enough, attractive enough, successful enough. And eventually those voices become our own. But now more than ever, we must become protectors of our inner dialogue. If you wouldn't say it to someone you love, don't say it to yourself. There is nothing noble about constant self-criticism. You are listening to you every single day. Make your voice a source of strength. You start to embrace solitude in a new way. When you were young, being alone often felt like punishment, a sign of rejection or failure. But now it feels like clarity. like breathing, like finally getting to hear your own thoughts without the world yelling over them. Solitude becomes a sanctuary, not a sentence. You begin to love your own company. You drink your coffee slowly, take walks without destination, and find beauty in your own rhythm. This is where self-respect often blooms, not in crowds, but in calm. In time, you realize that privacy is power. Not everyone needs access to your heart, your plans, your pain. The more you grow, the less you feel the need to announce your every move. You stop oversharing with people who haven't earned your trust. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. You learn that peace often lives in the parts of your life no one knows about. Celebrate in silence. Heal in silence, win in silence. Let your life speak for itself. And sometimes, to protect that peace, you have to burn bridges, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. Some paths only lead back to pain. You know the ones. The relationships that feel like walking on eggshells, the commitments that leave you drained, the patterns you swore you'd never repeat. Burning a bridge isn't cruel when it's the only way to stop yourself from crossing back into something that harmed you. It's called self-respect. It's called finally choosing yourself. You also learn that love is only love when it's mutual. Affection without reciprocity is a performance, not a relationship. Never allow yourself to become someone's emotional convenience while making them your priority. The most tragic kind of loneliness is the one you feel while sitting next to someone who makes you question your worth. Be with people who choose you loudly, consistently, and without condition. Love that demands you shrink is not love, it's control. Love that respects your silence, honors your boundaries, and celebrates your growth. That's the kind you deserve. What people think of you becomes less and less relevant as you grow older. Not because you stop caring, but because you realize most people are projecting their own fears, limitations, and expectations onto you. Your path won't look like theirs. It shouldn't. It can't. You're not here to live someone else's timeline. You're here to live your truth, even if no one claps for it, even if they laugh or walk away or fail to understand. Live it anyway. Most importantly, you learn that your value doesn't decrease because someone fails to see it. Their blindness is not your burden. Your worth is not negotiable. It does not rise and fall with someone's ability to appreciate you. It simply is, steady, quiet, unshakable. You do not have to perform to be loved. You do not have to beg to be chosen. Respect yourself enough to stay rooted when others drift, brave enough to walk away when you're being diminished, and wise enough to know that real love never makes you feel like you are too much or not enough. This is what life teaches you if you listen long enough. The people who laugh at you for being different are usually afraid of being themselves. The ones who try to diminish your light are often ashamed they dim their own. So keep going, keep becoming, keep growing. Be proud of your solitude, of your softness, of your strength. It took a lifetime to become who you are. Don't apologize for arriving. Growth and resilience. There's a moment in life when you stop measuring success by trophies or titles and start measuring it by the quiet ways you've grown. Not the loud victories, but the small choices that added up over time. The times you stood back up after a failure. The mornings you showed up even when no one noticed. The silent promises you kept to yourself. When I look back, what I remember most clearly isn't the applause. It's the resilience. The days I chose discipline over comfort, the nights I kept going when it would have been easier to give up. You see, we often talk about strength like it's something loud and visible. But real strength, it's quiet. It's stubborn in the right ways. It's getting up and doing the work when no one's clapping, when no one sees. There's a kind of dignity in pushing through even when the odds are stacked against you. I've come to believe that discipline is one of the greatest forms of self-respect. It's not about being hard on yourself. It's about knowing your future self is worth the effort. We all want ease, but ease doesn't build you. And the truth is, the pain of discipline will never sting as much as the pain of regret. It's funny how often we tell ourselves we'll get to it later. Tomorrow, we say, like it's guaranteed. We make a quiet deal with ourselves to leave things undone, not realizing we're also agreeing to carry the weight of those undone things around for days, months, even years. I've learned to ask myself, if I were to leave this world tonight, Would I be at peace with what I've left incomplete? That simple question has pushed me into action more than any motivational speech ever could. The work we delay today becomes the burden we regret tomorrow. I've failed more times than I can count. I've lost money, friendships, chances. I've disappointed myself more than once. But if I've learned anything, it's that stumbling doesn't mean stopping. Each time I fell, I rose with a little more wisdom in my bones. The most important step you'll ever take is the next one. Not the biggest one, not the perfect one, just the next. That's all you ever need to focus on. Life doesn't demand perfection, it asks for persistence. You don't need a flawless plan, just the courage to take one more step forward, even when the path isn't clear. Resilience isn't just about surviving hardship. It's about staying soft in a world that tries to make you hard. It's refusing to let bitterness settle into your bones. It's choosing to see the world with open eyes and an open heart, even when it would be easier to close both. I've known people who hardened themselves to pain, only to find that they'd also hardened themselves to joy. But staying open, staying human, that's a kind of bravery too. One that doesn't get celebrated enough. Life will test you. It will ask you what you're made of again and again. Sometimes in ways you expect, sometimes in ways that blindside you. And in those moments, you have to reach inward. You'll find that true resilience doesn't come from pretending you're invincible. It comes from knowing you're not and choosing to rise anyway. It's being able to say, I was knocked down, yes, but I'm not done yet. Along the way, you'll realize that people will always have opinions about who you are, what you should do, what you're worth. But they don't get to define you. Their perception is not your identity. There will be people who doubt you, people who judge you, people who want you to shrink. But shrinking doesn't serve anyone. Don't let the fear of being underestimated stop you from becoming everything you're meant to be. And never let someone else's limited imagination put a ceiling on your dreams. The world can be unkind. Fairness is not promised. You might give your all and still be overlooked. You might play by the rules and still lose the game. That's not your fault, but it is your test. The only thing you truly control is how you show up. So show up with integrity, with heart, with grit. Not because you'll be rewarded, but because that's who you are. That's the legacy that lasts. I've also learned that nothing in life is beneath you, except perhaps your ego. There is dignity in every form of work, every honest effort. I've mopped floors and worn suits, and I'll tell you, some of the best people I've met were the ones no one noticed. Don't get caught up in status. Focus on contribution. Do what needs to be done, and let your excellence speak for itself. Pride fades, but purpose? Purpose keeps you going when everything else falls apart. And no matter how hard the journey gets, don't forget this. Happiness is real, and it's not as rare as we make it seem. It's found in giving, in building, in growing. You don't lose joy by sharing it. You multiply it. Like lighting another candle with your own, the flame stays strong. The more we give, the richer we become. Not in dollars, but in days that feel worth living. It's true, though. Your health is everything. You can have dreams, ambition, kindness, but if you sacrifice your body chasing what you think you need, you'll spend the second half of your life trying to undo the damage from the first. No amount of money is worth the slow erosion of your strength, your sleep, your breath. Care for yourself like someone you love, because once you lose your health, everything else becomes background noise. Still, don't be surprised when people disappear during your hardest times. Some won't show up. Others will quietly celebrate your struggles. I used to let that wound me. Now I let it educate me. Resilience isn't built on applause. It's built in silence. When no one's watching, when no one is clapping, when you keep moving anyway. That's where it grows. Keep them guessing. Let your strength confuse the ones who doubted you. In the end, give what you can, whether it's your time, your wisdom, or your compassion. Respect what you've earned, but don't cling to it like it's all that defines you. Share it. Let it serve. Use it to lift someone else's burden. That's what makes it sacred. Wealth is not how much you hold. It's how much good it can do once it leaves your hands. Keep some for yourself, of course, but never let it harden you. Humility and generosity will always look good on you. And through all of it, remember, you are still becoming, no matter your age, no matter your past. Growth doesn't end with a milestone. You're not done. You're still writing, and every day is another page. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you've made it to the end, I hope something I shared resonated with your heart. Whether it reminded you of how far you've come or inspired you to keep growing, no matter your age. If this message meant something to you, take a moment to leave a comment below. Just a simple, still growing is enough to let me know you're walking this journey too. And if you'd like to continue receiving gentle reminders and timeless wisdom, feel free to subscribe, only if it feels right for you. Every day is a new chance to live with more intention, more clarity, and more courage. You're never too old to begin again. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll talk about the one habit after 60 that quietly shapes the rest of your life. Until then, take care of your heart. It's carried you this far, and it's not done yet.